Hi, I'm Kerry. I'm the host of Best of Us Investors. We're a tribe of individuals now approaching 90,000 subscribers who basically want to profit off of the stock market. And we approach it a little bit differently. I don't look too much at what's happened in the past. I believe that if you want exponential growth in your portfolio, you have to be looking to the future. You have to be looking at the events that have happened in the past and today, and then say who is going to be in the future the ones who facilitate the change that is coming. The biggest event that has happened in your life is the coronavirus. It is comparable to World War II. It affected the whole world, and it's going to affect the economy accordingly. So my role as part of Best of Us Investors is to use my experience. I'm a retired financial advisor. I'm 76 years old. I've had a lot of experience in the stock market. So to use my experience, my knowledge, to predict what is going to happen in the future and what companies are going to facilitate that change. So with that in mind, if you want to be a part of that, subscribe to this channel. Give me a like. If at the end of the video or in the middle you say, this is good stuff, give me a like, and then ring the bell so that you get notified when I put out another video. Today's video, I have basically said in previous videos that one of the changes is a recognition as a result of the coronavirus that our supply chain is broken. We depend on other countries for too many things. We saw that with PPE. So as a result of that, we have to bring that supply chain home. That will then require technology to give us a rebirth of our manufacturing. That will stimulate interest in 3D printing and robotics. I did a video yesterday on the stocks that I'm looking at in robotics. Today, we're going to talk about 3D printing. So let's take a break here. Let me catch my thoughts, and I'll be right back with you.
Best of Us Investors presents Kerry Griegmeyer.
Okay, as I said, I build my portfolio based on what I think is going to happen, not what has happened. And what I think is going to happen is, for the most part, driven by the coronavirus and the changes that occur. So I focus on, right now, I'm focusing on 5G, electric vehicles, and that's an example of what I'm talking about, change. Those of you who saw the change coming invested in Tesla and NIO and some of the other Chinese electric vehicle stocks, and now you're looking at some of the new batteries that are coming forward. That's change. You get in front of it. Some of these are small companies that haven't made any money, but they're going to be facilitators of change. I'm also, if you've seen my videos, I'm very high on biotech, and because I think the virus has brought to our attention that we need to use every tool we have to make sure this doesn't happen again. And those tools coming forward are telling us that there are some other benefits that are coming through genome sequencing and CRISPR. And we've talked about that in other videos. So what I want to focus on today is 3D printing. I think of printing my printer over there. I program a Word document, an Excel spreadsheet, like I've got in front of me. I put colors in it. I put lines in jars, and I push a button, and that printer magically puts all the colors in the right place, all the lines, all the letters, and prints it. Well, that same principle is now coming to manufacturing. And that is to say, rather than we used to be in a manufacturing world of negative manufacturing. And that is, we got a sheet of metal, we cut this corner off of it, we put a hole in there, we put that, and we negatively affected the the product that we were trying to produce. We took things away, which creates a lot of waste and uses a lot of energy and is expensive, and it's very manpower intense. Well, what 3D printing is a additive manufacturing. We take and we put down on a negative space, we put down the formation that we want, and then we just build upon it, and we build upon it, and we build upon it. And we use everything from sand to metals to any kind of powders, and then we put an adhesive into it to form the, let's say, the part that we're looking for. In the past, that would have been bring in a piece of metal and then tool it and cut it and form it the way we want. Again, negative. We're taking away to create the end product. With 3D printing, we're putting it together, then fusing it through adhesives of different types, heating it, and making the part. It's all done by design, computer, and by machine. So, like I said in a video that I did on robotics, the manufacturing now in China, who basically became the center of the world's supply chain, has recognized that their labor costs have gone up and they're losing their labor advantage. So they are introducing robotics and 3D printing, eliminating people and making the products we need. And then they'll put them in a box, then put them in a container and ship them across the ocean and sell them to us. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Why don't we buy the robots? Why don't we buy the 3D printing and put the jobs in the United States and eliminate this break in supply chain to where we're dependent upon other people for anything and everything we need? So my contention is I'm not the only one who's figured this out. My contention is that there are companies that are figuring this out and saying we can bring jobs to the United States and bring good paying jobs. Now, it requires that we train people, but there's no problem with that. And then those tax dollars will stay on our shores rather than be in the shores of foreign countries. And we won't be dependent upon them. Think about that. We learned in May that 80% of all the antibodies that we need to stop problems in our body are made in China. We learned that 100% of PPE was made in China. We learned that respirators were made in China. Well, what if this weren't a okay, we'll help you out situation? What if it was an adversarial situation? We'd be up the proverbial creek without a paddle, and we'd be at their mercy. And then, like what happened just recently, not only would they break our supply chain, bring us to our knees because we can't survive without it, then cyber attack comes. We in the last year have experienced World War III. We got a preview of it. We break your supply chain, we cut you off, and then we turn the electricity off. We can't allow that to happen. We've been negligent for the last 30 years. Because of price, we have said, okay, you make it for us. Okay, you supply it for us. Okay, we'll allow you to invade our cyber system and have access to our electric grid. Now, do we do the same thing to them? Of course we do. But understand, we as a nation, if we want to remain any form of dominance, we got to bring the supply chain back to our shores. So I, as an investor, have been spending my time looking at who are the companies that are going to make this happen. Well, I came up with, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them, I believe. 3D Systems Corp, ticker DDD. Desktop Metals, ticker DM. X1, ticker XONE. Proto Labs, ticker PRLB. Materialize, ticker MTLS. And Nano Dimensions, ticker NNDM. So I dug into these companies, and I'll give you a clue. Go to YouTube and just type 3D Systems. Type in Desktop Metals. Type in each of those names, and what you will get is a list of videos that those corporations put out that explains what they do. And you will educate yourself very, very quickly on what 3D printing is all about and what spaces each one of these companies are in. And what you then might want to do is go to their webpage, go to their investor tab, and pull up their financial statements and see what kind of growth they're creating. What you're going to find is many of them don't make any money at this time. They are infants in the birth stage. Now, some of them are quite profitable. Proto Labs and Materialize are quite profitable, and their stock price reflects it. Proto Labs is about 153, and Materialize is 117. What I'm looking for, though, is the companies that are down around $10 to $20 that I believe, because of their technology, they're either going to be bought by someone larger, or they're going to be recognized for what they are and what they bring to the table, and you're going to get exponential growth. That's what I'm looking for at this time, exponential growth. I'm supplementing my portfolio of Amazon, Square, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, and Apple, who I think are going to give me a 35 to 50% growth, and I'm looking for companies that are going to give me a 200% or a 500% or 1,000%. So what I did this morning was buy DDD, DM, XONE, and NNDM. I put about $10,000 into each one of them, and I know they're not going to be big payoffs in the next 3 months, but I've got roughly, $40,000 set aside in this category that I believe is going to explode. Now, will it happen this year? Maybe not. It might take a couple of years, because what has to happen is not only I have to recognize that this has to happen, but corporations have to recognize it, and I think they have, but our government has to recognize that this is something that we as a country have to get behind, and, to use a phrase that I've heard and I'll steal, make America great again. We have to do that. And not because we want it and we want to be proud that we are the dominant force of the world economy. No, that's not the reason. The reason is to survive, Now, is there another Adolf Hitler in the wings that would use biological warfare, that would use a supply chain, bribery? They wouldn't have to send any missiles. No. As I told you in another video, all they got to do is develop another virus, put some people on some planes, some cruise ships, and vaccinate themselves, and we got biological war. And then bring us to our knees, we got cybersecurity. We got the supply chain. This has to happen. This isn't a want list. This isn't, boy, I hope this happens. This has to happen. So that's how I invest. I've got an advantage. I've been around a long time. I connect the dots. A lot of people are right now thinking, wow, we're going to get through this coronavirus. Isn't this great? We can get back to life as it used to be. No, that will never happen again. We can't. We are vulnerable. We are so vulnerable that it's scary. But we've got time. We've got time, but we got to move quickly. And you need to recognize that I'm not the only person who knows this, and that our government will get behind it, and our stock market will do extremely well in 2023 or 2021 through 2023 if you're in the right place. If you're in the antiquated traditional stocks, if you have a diversified portfolio, expect to get the conventional 5 to 8%, 9% return that historically comes from the S&P 500. But if you want exponential growth, you've got to be in robotics, 3D printing, biotech, electric vehicles, and 5G. You have to be. Now, if you need a background on how this all is going to happen, go to Best of Us Investors. Sign up and give me your email address and your name, and I'll send you, kind of like my blog, I periodically put out a letter, but more important than that is I'll give you the link to our Discord. Our Discord is right now about where 8,000 people like me who are interested in investing in the future as opposed to investing in the past gather together and exchange ideas. I will there show you my portfolio, what I own. I create a sheet of what I own in the portfolio. It even graphs it out. And then I also put out, as I will this morning, exactly what I buy, how much of it I buy, and what I sell, and how much of it I sell on a daily basis. So you can see, if you think that I have some wisdom to share, exactly what I'm doing. You also then, what we ask is, and what I'm asking right now to my tribe, if you have more information on 3D printing, go to the Discord. There is a tab there for 3D printing, and share your knowledge. And that's truly what this channel's all about. It's not about Carrie. Carrie is the facilitator to bring the talents of, we hope sometime, 1 million people who work in different industries, and they share their information and their knowledge, and we as a tribe benefit from it. We're taking the old world of Wall Street. We know it all. We dictate to you how the market moves, and we're pushing that aside. And we're saying we collectively are smarter than you, Wall Street, because we have 1 million minds working, and you might have, 500,000, okay, or 200,000, whatever. The point is, the internet has given us the capability to come together as like-minded investors and help each other. That's it. Help each other. Learn from each other. We have, at Best of Us Investors, 3 objectives. Make good financial decisions. Keep more of what you make because you understand the tax code. And create family wealth. Our goal currently is $24 million. And that is because that's what the federal government allows us to pass on, estate tax free. And to that end, I want you to get a copy of Saturday's, January 2nd's Wall Street Journal. And on page B5, there is an article, Tiny Tax Changes That Could Be a Big Deal This Year. And in there, they have a graph that goes through and tells you what the tax brackets are, tells you how much you can put into an IRA, how much you can put into a Roth or a qualified, how much you can put into a SEP, or how much you can put into a solo 401k. Did you know that you can put into a SEP IRA or a solo 401k this year $58,000? And if you're over 50 years old, another $6,500. Can you imagine if you put $58,000 aside each year and you're 35 till you're 65? Can you imagine how much you'd have if you could grow it at, say, 15%? How much you think you'd have? Well, let me tell you. You'd have roughly $24 million. So what you need to do is get a side gig like I do, a YouTube channel, put $56,000. The problem is I don't have 30 years, and you can create the family wealth that we're talking about. Well, that's what our channel's about. That's what Best of Us Advisors is. And I say our channel because it's not mine. It belongs to those of us who want to make good investment decisions, keep more of what we make, and build family wealth. So subscribe. Give me a likes up if you like this kind of video. It's a little different. I don't use charts and graphs. That's the past. I don't worry about the Fed. That's something they're the referees. I don't have any control over them. All I have control over is looking into the future and making a decision as to who's going to make it happen, and then investing in them. That's my privilege. I have the privilege to own some of the best companies in the world, and I'm going to take advantage of it. All right. Thumbs up.